my name is Ashlyn Warda. I'm with the James G. Martin Center for Academic Renewal, and today we're interviewing the Executive Director of the NC Study Center. Please go ahead and introduce yourself, and if you'd like to just give us a little brief introduction to what the NC Study Center is.
Thank you, Ashlyn. Thank you. Yes, I'm Madison Perry, and I'm founder and executive director of the North Carolina Study Center. We have been open since fall of 2015, and our mission is to cultivate Christian life and thought at UNC. And basically what we're trying to do is we want Chapel Hill to be a great place to get a Christian education for those who would want to have it. And we love UNC and that it's a state public institution, and we also want to bring resources alongside the school that would help students grow in their faith if they would choose to do so.
Awesome. So you helped found the NC Study Center. Can you tell us a little bit more about the motivation behind this organization?
Sure, yes. So it'll be a little bit autobiographical. I'm from Kinston, North Carolina, and came to UNC. I had a really strong interest in literature and in languages and philosophy. And, kind of as I was navigating UNC and taking classes, I really felt like some of the questions that we were asking in my classes were important philosophically. And I wanted to have more places to have discussions about what it was that we were learning and kind of the philosophies that would underlie the things that I was thinking about. And actually, I visited a friend at UVA in undergrad where they have an Institute for Advanced Studies in Culture from with J.D. Hunter up there, and then also they have a Christian Study Center that I discovered while I was up there. And there were several people there who were really interested in how literature and faith interrelate. And so, and that was not just in a pietistic kind of way, like how does literature give you a stronger faith, but also, to think accurately about the world. How is that then reflected in the kind of fiction that you write? So that was kind of like a microcosm for me of, what we're studying really matters in general. And so, but there weren't enough places for me to have those discussions, especially coming from a Christian perspective. So that was kind of like a hunger that I had a long time ago. And I thought, that we have so many chances in college to talk about things that matter. I'd love to have more opportunities to do that. I ended up at law school at UNC and was planning on being a small town lawyer. And also I studied theology at Duke and sort of had like an array of interests, but mostly a heart for the kind of formation that happens in the university age kind of demographic. And so after all of my grad school, ended up thinking, maybe this would be a good time to try to start like a Center for Christian Life and Thought in Chapel Hill that would hopefully, come alongside the university and offer enhanced resources for those who would want them.
That's a really interesting concept. Since you opened in 2015, what has been the main response you've seen from students?
It's been really, really fun, to be honest. It's, kind of running a nonprofit, it can be like a little much sometimes, but we have a beautiful house. We were actually working out of the old Kemp Plummer Battle House on the edge of campus. So feel really blessed to be in this space. We think that to grow in college, it's not just a matter of learning how to think correctly, but it's a matter of being shaped as a whole person. So we're not only offering classes, we're also just offering a great space for students to be in as whole people. And we have students who come who are Christian and some who are not. And it really is just a really comfortable and fun place to be. So I'd say, first of all, that students love the hospitality that we provide and that it does kind of stand out in Chapel Hill as being a neat place to be. I'd also say, I think we have really great students in Chapel Hill, some who are really curious, really interested in going deeper in some of these kind of like philosophical, theological ways, and others who just want to be good leaders, who want to live good lives. And so I'd say it's a joy for me to see the student response because it's been so strong.
So your website, it shows many events and programs that students can participate in, but could you give us some more details on what you do at the study center and how students can get involved?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll just kind of begin macro level, and if I run on too long, please cut me off. But I think about an education in a university sort of in four main dimensions. There's the knowledge piece, that's the academic formation. There's a community piece. It's, you go to school to meet faculty, to meet other students, to become part of an alumni base. There's also the character formation piece, which most universities don't really explicitly embrace now, like they might have years ago, but it's the kind of what kind of person are you becoming while you're in college. So, at UNC, that's like student wellness. That's also like diversity. That's preparing to be kind of leaders. There are kind of different ways to measure character. And then fourth, there's the aspect of kind of preparation for the future, being equipped in mission. What will your job be when you graduate? It's the future oriented part of an education. And so we kind of have those four different sort of areas of university education. And we're trying to offer structured programs really in each of those areas. So like a 3-year deep dive in how a Christian would think about not only scripture, but about the university and about the world. That's kind of like in our knowledge, our theological education piece. There's our hospitality piece, which is really addressing that community need. So we're open every morning, 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. We have coffee and tea out. I mean, we have over 300 students a day coming by. Again, really, we're welcoming really of any student who want to be here, hoping that this will be being here will help grow them in good ways. Third, in the character formation piece, we think of that as spiritual formation, the formation of the whole person in the likeness of Christ. And so we have resources there. And then fourth, the future oriented piece, sort of like career services. We have what we call the Wilberforce program, which is there to help students think intentionally about like, how are they using their time in college and what will that then prepare them to do later on? And how does that connect with their deepest priorities and with what they want to accomplish with their lives? So basically structured programs in all four of those areas.
Okay. And do your programs run like with a typical semester, or how does that look?
That's a great question. So we really want to kind of offer a series of options there because some students have more time depending on what year they are or what they're studying or their level of interest. So we have mini seminars, like 2 to 4 weeks. We'll be teaching Milton in the spring and a few different books, taught by faculty, some by community members, some by our staff. We have just our bread and butter kind of theological education that meets every other Tuesday night, runs 3 consecutive years, taking students from sort of like A to Z in the Christian tradition, learning to think like a Christian. So really an array of options between speakers, seminars, classes, and programs. And most students, they're finding out about this using Instagram or on our email list. And one of our main kind of our posture is we want students to do that which they want to do. And so there's a number of ways to engage with our programming, depending on where a student is and what they want.
Right. So have you had any feedback from students on kind of what it's like to be a Christian student on a college campus?
Yeah, I mean, UNC is definitely a pluralistic school. And so there are a number of different persuasions and different beliefs that students hold. And I think that's one of the things that make a public university great, hopefully, is that it's going to represent, it will capture sort of the different balance of perspectives that society would have on offer. So students definitely see that. I mean, for some students, that's the very first time they're meeting students who aren't Christian, like they went to, Christian high school, middle school. But they're coming to Carolina partly because they want to be part of the public, like they want to be part of North Carolina. And so it's not really a shock in that kind of way. And some students, they find like that their faith is really challenged just because they're discovering new options for living. And I think actually between ages 18 and 23, that's a really good time, ideally, to be making life decisions, to reevaluate who you are and what you want. And so, so students definitely come to Carolina knowing that they're going to be confronted with multiple options. Yeah, and so I can tell you stories, sort of, lots of different kinds of stories about what that journey looks like for different students.
Right. So I guess why do you think it's important for an organization like this to exist? Because, clearly you saw a need and you've put into practice. So why do you think that's important?
I think the best expositors of a tradition will be those who ascribe to that tradition, typically, and not always, but often, like you would want to hear a person from this or that group explain how this or that group lives and how they think and why they do what they do. And in most departments, you would never have poetry taught by somebody who doesn't like poetry. um, and so I think, for something as important as religion, and just given, the scope of the Christian tradition, let alone, the various faith traditions that are out there, I think it's really important that there be some people who say, like, this is, we've decided to orient our lives around this way of living and this way of thinking, and we'll make that accessible to students who have already identified as such, or who are curious about exploring that. So I think, in an American democracy where you have different kinds of traditions on offer, I think it's really important that those traditions speak for themselves about how they see the world and how they live. So it's my joy that I get to see that happen here, for students who do want to explore Christianity.
That sounds like a really exciting opportunity. Um, Overall, what impact do you hope the NC Study Center has for UNC's campus?
I hope that we're helping our students mature. Like, I love to see like our seniors graduate, having become more responsible, having learned how to lead, having gotten to read the kinds of books that they want to read, and then being prepared to be, full-fledged adults. I do like to see them learn how to think critically. I like to see them grow in humility. I really want for our students to navigate campus well, to love UNC well, and also to fully embrace the identities that they've chosen as Christians. I think mostly in terms of what kinds of students is Chapel Hill producing, and how can we be a part of that process? Overall, I think that's where mine goes first on that question.
Awesome. So that's pretty much the extent of the questions I had prepared. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I would just say, I'm really excited about what's happening in Chapel Hill overall. Like, I really love, I love seeing what I'm seeing from students. We have great faculty here. I think, I'm excited about the future, of being in Chapel Hill. So yeah, it's been a really quick, 8 or 9 years on the ground here, and I'm really, really glad we're doing this. Thanks so
Awesome.
much for having me on. I really appreciate it.